to Candyman, a podcast where we are not talking about Candyman, which used bees that were 12 hours old so that they were large enough to look like adult bees, but their stingers weren't as strong. We're not going to be talking about that here because instead we're talking about the show Sweet Tooth. I'm Alex.
I knew the bee nanny over at the Candyman movie. Raised him up just the right number of... I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And we
Stop
are...
it, Pete.
Stop it.
Put the candy away. We're not eating.
No, put it away. This is ludicrous. With this episode, we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 3, Chicken or Egg, and we're going to be reviewing Cadbury Creme Eggs. Woo. And legitimately, this is not a joke. I know it sounds like we're joking about Pete's candy problems here on the podcast. As we started, he was like, so when can we eat? And already had it half unpeeled.
Yeah.
Close it. Put it away from you. Put it across the room so you can't reach it like an alarm clock. My God.
He has the Easter Bunny held hostage next to him on this camera right now. Gagged and bound. He's making him poop out more Cadbury eggs that he's eating. Because that's where they come from, right?
Insane. Just hold off for, 10, 20 minutes, maybe, something like that. We don't spend a ton of time talking about it.
I'm so close to finally getting able to eat this.
Your life is weird. Okay, so
your life is weird.
Just to get into it and get into spoilers for the episode, a quick bit of recap here. We're finally getting to big bits of mythology for the show. We are finding out about Project Midnight Sun. We get to meet, I believe her name is Julian Washington, who is giving a speech at Project Midnight. And what happens here is that Singh takes Gus back to Project Midnight to find out if it sparks any memories. Ultimately, it doesn't exactly, but they find out a lot of stuff about what was going on back in the day. They find out about Professor Miller, aka Birdie, and her project with chickens. We find out a potential for some sort of cure. And at the same time, we meet a new hybrid who is named Peter. Appropriately, he's a crocodile. It's a little Peter Pan joke going on there. You get it. Fun. And please
it's
stop.
Fun.
Pete. Please stop. This is if you thought Pete was talking about, poor Peter Crocodile, what happens to him in this episode. No, he was going, I'm going to eat some candy like a little baby. Anyway, at the same time, Amy and Jepp are bonding in Factory Town, I believe is the name of it.
Yep. Yeah, classic town.
And almost cross paths with General Abbott, who is doing a tour around to try to drum up interest with the three. Ultimately, it leads to him revealing, hey, I have a cure for the sick. Only he doesn't. He ends up killing the guy who he said gave the cure. Sad day for that guy, like real roller coaster of emotions going on there.
I mean, the high was pretty high, though. He was like, I'm cured, sick, let's do this.
Yeah.
Now he's dead.
And meanwhile, Bear and the Blondie decide to sign up for the Last Men by the end of the episode. So lots of big moves going on here.
Yeah, the Station 11 crew rolling through, taking a decidedly different turn by the end of the episode.
I think
Not
so.
Chasing art and theater, but chasing a career in the military.
So we are getting a lot of, as usual with the show, mind you, like I was going to say, we're getting a lot of like separate paths going. They're always very strong on theme on the show. That's one thing that I've been thinking about. The titles are so specific, like the chicken and the egg, of course, it's playing off the fact that we're talking about chickens here, but it's also where do these things begin and where do they end? That's what every single one of these storylines is dealing with. My favorite one, which I'll throw out there right at the top, and I'd love to talk about, is the Jepp and Aimee one, which I thought was so emotionally affecting, particularly this point in the middle where they meet a woman who's just waiting to talk to her wife on the phone since the beginning. Ultimately, Jepp has this beautiful talk with her where they're like, hey, we don't think you're crazy. We understand you want to wait.
He goes in for the hug first, bro. He's, guy's smart. He knows
you'd do anything for a Jepp hug, right?
Oh, come on, man.
What would I do for a Jepp hug?
Wrong candy. You could really live for years in a Jeppard hug.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. The cozy factor alone is,
The heat. It's like a hammock. It's like a meat hammock. You know what I mean?
Oh, it sounds so warm and cuddly.
Yeah. A hot meat hammock.
Well, what did you think about the storyline? Yeah, go ahead.
I liked it. It reminded me a lot.
Not to take away from the meat hammock discussion.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Anybody
I'm
else
just
hungry? Anybody
I'm just-
crazy hungry? Because when you smell chocolate, you just want to eat it.
Here's the
what I mean?
thing about being crazy hungry, not to keep veering into this. This is not going to make you not a hungry Pete. There is not
exactly.
enough
Candy.
food.
If you think candy is a meal, you have a lifelong struggle, and your dentist in your future. But what I was going to say is Factory Town. This whole storyline reminded me of Northern Exposure, that TV show back in the day, where it's this like a post-apocalyptic version of that, where it's like sort of this quirky story, a woman waiting for the call, they're also waiting for a call, and they're bonding, they're getting close. Yes, Alex?
No, all I was going to say, this is a terrible thing to interject into the middle of you talking about the storyline, but have you ever seen a movie called Stay Tuned?
Yes.
Okay, so they go to a bunch of TV stations. There's this stupid joke in the middle there where it's a bunch of TV stations in hell. And
I can't believe you're bringing this up. This is more of a stretch than we've ever.
One of the TV shows they go to is Northern Overexposure.
Yeah, it's just people frozen to death.
That's pretty much it. So there you go.
And
that's what
that show was never. That's good. That's good.
It's a long walk.
That
Sure
show
is,
is never.
man.
The thing is, that show was never popular enough to warrant that reference. But also, Stay Tuned is a movie that almost no one saw, so it's a perfect.
It's a
chicken
perfect
or
storm
egg.
of nothingness. And now you can put our show, this podcast, into that Venn diagram.
Surely
Things that don't matter.
we're already on the Wikipedia page for all of those things, I'm sure. But I like them bonding. I like their sort of they're sort of the parents of the show. There are two sets of parents, I guess. You have Singh and his wife, and then Aimee and Jepp, and they are they don't like they're all in such different places. This episode we get to see Aimee and Jepp sort of coming together, while the Singhs are sort of a little bit diverting, I would argue. So it was nice getting back to Factory Town. I like the story. I like that they're like, we got to get some bangers. I like the sort of joke where they're like, we got to meet these guys. They're the best. And then it cuts to their graves.
The best. Yeah.
I was like, yo, that's a horrible prank.
You can't miss them.
Yeah. That's a fucked up prank.
But I like this whole setup. I feel like this almost, there's a lot of post-apocalyptic fiction, and we've been talking about Station 11 a little bit. I think this was a little more on the side of Station 11 this town, but this almost to me felt more like Fantasy City, like a Lord of the Rings
RPG.
Exactly, exactly what I was thinking of.
It's like when all the like Final Fantasy 3 characters are like, well, now we're in this town. What are the mysteries here? And you go to the gravesite, but then you find a jewel, and then you take that jewel and you take it to the bar and you give it to the dancer and she dances and you learn a spell because of her dance.
And I don't mean that dismissively, like not like, oh, it felt like a video game, so much as even that mini mission of, oop, we got to figure out a way to get this lady away from her phone and enough time to get a call. All of that stuff, the villain coming into the town, it felt like almost these cutscenes. Good. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And all the stuff with Jepp, I think it points to the kindness of this show as well. Just the idea that they weren't like, we got to find a way to trick this lady to get away from the phone, so much as like just talking to her human to human. I thought was really lovely.
Yeah.
Well, and that's an underlying message of, I think, this show, like stepping back into a larger thematic thing, like you were saying, like the show does a good job of sort of, we're seeing all these characters because they're kinder and more thoughtful than all of everyone else in the world around them. And so there's a lot of threads in this episode. We keep pulling them a little bit tighter and a little bit tighter. Because I think this is a sort of light criticism, but the first couple episodes, I was like, God, we're jumping around and the themes feel a little muddy. But you see, as the episodes go on, everything's just getting tighter and more pointed. And I really like that.
Well, what's nice is we have some real kind of like closure on some stuff in this episode where we have this kind of like, we get to see kind of how it all started with, Gus being kind of shown to the world in this videotape, and we get some real answers in this because it's been a lot of wandering around in the woods, and now we're finally getting some like key parts of how this kind of like post-apocalyptic.
Well, except here's the thing: is that how it started? I mean, the title is Chicken and the Egg, right? And we're getting to see, they invented Gus, but that's stuff that they got off of a boat that was trapped in the ice for hundreds of years. So where did that come from? So. They are opening up these mysteries, but there are other mysteries to be solved at the same time. And the other thing that I guess you could point to, not to get, too esoteric about it, but because I don't think they necessarily get into it this episode, but like to jump over to the Gus stuff at Project Midnight a little bit, he gets to see where Papa used to work, which we got to see a little bit last season. So that was nice.
Flashback.
Finds that very quickly in terms of where his dad's toolbox was. So that's his origin, like that's his parent, but also Birdie is parent, but also he came from this place. But also, who are Gus's parents at this point? Who are his family? And I think that's a question that they're starting to raise here as he finds out his origins, as he gets to see this videotape of his mom. Meanwhile, Jepp and Aimee, like we're talking about, that's kind of potentially down the road, his mom and dad. So are they his future family? Are the other animal kids his family? Where does that loyalty lie?
And then Bear being sort of like the older sister figure, but like Mama, Aimee just wasn't, she barely knows Gus. Mama? She barely knows Gus. They hung out for like a couple minutes, really, right? So it's like she's like a mother figure to the other hybrids, but not to him. So like there's definitely a lot of like these people occupy these roles, but I think maybe it's an easier fit. It's like last season, Jeppard being the father was like, he was like, I'm not good at this. Why am I doing this? And in this season, I feel like because he misses Gus, he feels more parental. But in practice, are any of these people good at being caretakers for these kids that have never been taken care of anyway? So it's a lot of interesting, we're assigning roles to them, but emotionally, I think all of them aren't there yet.
While we're talking about kind of big questions of the show, I mean, this episode really feels like it's very big chicken, listen.
Pro chicken, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're really kind of being like, chicken's the way to go, everybody. The price of eggs is so high. Like, you should have chickens around because it could save the world someday, And it was like, all right, let's take it easy with the,
Unless, chicken. Of course, the disease was incubated in chickens and then spread that way.
Yeah. But when have chickens ever caused any sort of disease? I can't think of anything offhand.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just eating some raw chicken. I just got to finish this, and then I'll answer your chicken question, Pete.
Yes. A couple of quick things that I wanted to mention. These are two random notes, but just before I forget them. One, while we were talking about the Birdie Gus video, I think we find out for the first time that his name is Genetic Unit Series 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is big revelation, but also like a little bit of a gut punch in a way. It's sad that, his name comes from this project.
Yeah.
Very
uncreative and kind of, lazy on the mom's part. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, isn't lazy on the mom's part? Or...
I think it's much harder to come up with an acronym.
They always do.
Yeah, but then if that's the name of the project, you don't have to like call him that. You know what I mean? Like maybe put something else on it, or
I mean, what's the Pete? What does that stand? Because you're an acronym too, right, Pete?
Yeah.
Person extra tired every day. That's what you. That's what Pete stands for.
I thought you were going to say.
I mean, he'd like to make it person eats the egg, but we're not quite there yet.
Good. That's
nice.
Good. Person eats the egg.
Put it down. Put it down. It's still in the foil, Pete. Put it down.
And see, here's what we're doing. We're also showing what great parents we are, because we're more like dog parents, where it's like, hey, Peter, drop it. Drop.
The other thing that I wanted to mention, we've skipped over the biggest moment in the episode, is when Abbott is giving the speech, he takes off his glasses. That was very weird to me, to see his eyeballs unfettered with those red glasses. Pete, you're looking at me. It looks like you were not as disturbed by this moment.
No, I mean, he does. Are you talking about like the flip up moment where he's like flipping the lenses?
No, when he's giving the speech, he straight up takes off his glasses and reveals his eyes.
Makes him more of a person.
Yeah, I know. He's trying to relate to the class, but it freaked me out.
The dramatic glasses reveal.
Yeah,
eyeball reveal. Yeah, that was what a revelation.
You did that the other day, right? You did an eyeball reveal on Twitter.
Yeah, it was crazy. People did not see it coming. Open your third eye, ladies and gentlemen. But what the scene with Abbott where the cure, and they have the fake cure, which they do a good job of showing but don't really telling. They take the hybrid, the cure, the temporary cure, but they've been extracting from the hybrids after they kill them, injecting a guy to show that he has the cure. I thought was like such a diabolical thing, and then killing the guy right afterwards, like we said, what a roller coaster for him. But really showing, because Abbott he's definitely a villain, he's a jerk, but he also seems crazy a lot of the time. And in this was like diabolical and very deliberate. So it's interesting. It felt like he's more of a villain now rather than just
and also
casual.
Weirdly into music. Like he was driving around for a while before he felt the song enough to be like, no, this is the good time to kill somebody. Like right here is the sweet spot. I'm ready.
I also feel like, is nobody going to miss that guy that they supposedly cured? Like, he was miraculously cured. I feel like one of my reactions after, oh my God, there's a cure for the sick, isn't that great, is I'd want to see that guy the next day and be like, hey, how you doing? You still feeling well? And if he's missing, I'm going to have some questions.
Yeah.
Well, but I got to think, though, if you're cured and you get to go off with big-time general guy, it's like, well, lucky Dave.
Oh, that's true.
He got to go be famous because
he got to go live at a farm upstate, and he's running and playing and just having the best time.
Just the best time.
100%.
Probably eating Cadbury eggs whenever he wants.
Put it down. Put it down. Put it down or get out of town. That's what I always
That's right.
say.
The should we talk about Singh and his wife and their because I feel like she's starting to feel bad about all the sacrifices that have been made to keep her alive.
About time.
Yeah, I don't even think it's starting. I mean, I think she is straight up terrified of Abbott. She hates everything that's going on here. As soon as she's realized that the animal kids are kids and seen them for the first time, yeah, I mean, there's that scene where Ronnie goes to talk to Wendy and she gives them the vegetables. She's on their side. She is.
Yeah.
She is not on side Singh. She's not on side Abbott. I think she's almost not on side Singh as well.
Yeah,
because she knows now what is going into her body and what is keeping her alive. And I don't think she thinks it's worth it.
No, I think she doesn't. But she also doesn't. And she knows that her husband can't not do it. Like he needs to. He's obsessed with finding this cure because he thinks that he's very close. And she's like, she knows he's doing it for him, but she can't deal with. He's doing it for her, but she can't deal with the guilt that he's doing it for her. So it's this very complicated web that it does feel like she wants to get off the train a little bit, which is sort of a scary thought. Because it could unhinge Singh, which will then put all of our hybrid kids in danger, specifically Gus.
Yeah.
Specifically Genetic Unit Series 1, which is what I call him from now on.
From now on. Oh, this was sorry, I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but I'm just looking through my notes. Getting back to the whole Singh Gus exploring the compound thing. One thing that I was a little surprised about, they had this great horror movie set up with Gus playing around with the lights and being like, ooh, this light stays on and then it becomes dark over there and I jump over here. I really thought they were going to use that later on for like a classic light turns out over here, goes dark over here scenario. And then
for the alligator attack where it was very intense, that could have been a real horror moment.
Yeah.
Well, this show is sort of
it was
a little
Peter
bit
reveal.
A what reveal?
Peter reveal.
A Peter reveal. You can go to jail for that.
Do you have that problem regularly, Pete?
Nope.
I did an eyeball reveal. We did a Peter reveal on Twitter, and boy, was it controversial. The Gator guy, Peter, is they were like, he's a kid. I was like, he seems like a grown up. He has grown up arms. But he was scary.
This was, I love the animal kids on the show. They are giving me life every time I see them, or however you want to phrase it. Peter Crocodile was a little iffy for me. I appreciated the effort put in there, but the mix between, I think this is an adult wearing a mask, and then, I think this is some CGI with a crocodile head, and then, oh, that is clearly somebody's hand in there, was a little like, all right, maybe this one didn't work, guys.
Well, and I see why they wanted him to be more crocodile than kid, because everyone needed to be sort of fully scared of him at first. And it's about Gus sort of seeing through all that and seeing the person underneath. But it sort of made him too crocodile-y. I wanted him to be, at the end of the day, more kid somehow. But I think if they did the horror version with lights on and off, I think they could have gotten away with having him be more of a true hybrid.
I did appreciate all of his pent-up aggression and rage, when first meeting people, just attack first, you know what I mean? Just to be safe.
What? And I don't know if you saw, but the reason he was so angry is because there was a little fishing pole with a Cadbury egg right in front of him, and he couldn't ever get it.
Yeah.
He could never get his mouth around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why
Did
we have
you,
the,
Pete, did you like the fact that the soldier, the big hulking soldier that's walking around with him, his name is Hulk? Did you catch on to that?
I did not, but that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's cool. There you go. That's what you find out when you turn the captions on. I was like, oh, they never said that out loud.
Yeah.
that's a fun
Captions
deep dive
sometimes
reveal.
help.
The so what did come first, the chicken or the egg? I mean that in
Oh, boy,
reality,
don't.
obviously, but also in the nature of the show, the idea here being hybrids or disease, I guess, or sick.
Man, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's gotta be the sick, right? Like the sick causes the flowers, which somehow also causes the hybrids, something like that. Unless it was creating Gus, and that was the thing that caused the sick. And by the way, I don't legitimately remember what happens in the comic book, so
I
this
also
is
don't
purely
remember.
me speculating, maybe based on knowledge of the back of my brain, but I don't remember.
Yes, I agree with you. I think it was sick first because I also think the idea that Gus will eventually feel guilt, I feel like, for the sick being involved in his creation. But I think the idea is something miraculous also came from it, and the cure for the sick is being brought about potentially by Gus.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the time. We should eat.
Hold on, hold on. There's
Hold
still
on.
some other stuff to talk
Come
about.
on, motherfuckers.
We haven't really talked about the bear and the blondie sequences too much yet. I did write down a note later on. I was like, wow, this is like rejects from Hair. So I feel like particularly that camp hanging out with Oma and Opa where everybody was just sitting around and singing and having a nice time.
Yeah.
Weird group. Weird group. That's all.
This story is a little weird. Like I don't know what, because it felt like, ooh, Bear likes this guy, but now the guy's sort of a jerk. It seems like, and so it's like, who do we like here? Because I want to be like, Bear, leave, leave these people.
It feels like to me, knowing that she, by the end of the episode, she finds out that like there's a bunch of animal kids at the Essex Zoo. She's figured out that, okay, Gus is probably there. Maybe Jepp is there as well. So I got to figure out a way to get there and potentially free them is, I think, the pretty clear takeaway of what her goal is in terms of running out and signing up with the Last Men. But it, to me, this feels like, okay, we need to explain how Bear gets from this house to over to this place where everybody's back together by the end of the season. And they've invented these other characters, which, mind you, they set up a pretty good conflict here with her, which is Blondie reveals that Animal Army killed his family, right? His parents?
Yep.
Is that it? Okay. So that seems like a secret that's going to come out at some point. Maybe Bear was involved in that some way. So maybe it's paying off in something, but right now it does feel a little wandery.
Yeah, agreed. One thing I wanted to say, like, do you feel like with it being Factory Town that Bruce Springsteen definitely would live there? Isn't that like the ultimate expression of a Springsteen song?
Oh, man, probably. Do you think Springsteen was that guy who was sick?
Oh, and he got killed? That's a sad reveal.
Yeah,
I did love how the evil bearded guy was like, yo, what's the name of this place? Factory Town, I love you guys. You guys are my favorite. Oh, man. I thought that was a funny moment.
Classic Springsteen move.
Oh, elsewhere in my notes, I wrote down Bear brings Patrick Swayze from Point Break up to speed. So,
wow, you really dinging this
I had him as Surfer.
I don't know what his name. Have they said his name?
And then I just started calling him Blondie, so that's better than what I got.
Yeah. What else? What else from the episode should we call out? I'm sure we skipped by a bunch of stuff. I really like the Roddy Jody friendship. I know I always talk about Jody every episode, but he's such a lovable doof. And it feels like she's playing him in doing the Scrabble game, or at least she's using him as a substitute for Singh, because Singh said, absolutely, I'll come back. We're going to play our Scrabble game. And clearly he didn't. So there's clearly some bubbling resentment going on there. And Ronnie is also very much the smarter person in the relationship between her and Johnny. But I don't know. I like the two of them together.
Well, and of all these, like, I feel like we're getting more time with him because he has something to contribute, and like at his core, there may be like a good person underneath.
Yeah,
I do also appreciate the fact that, like, you know, they do like Gus does have like kid moments that are kind of fun, like him having fun in this the stairwell was kind of adorable. But he does kind of throw down the gauntlet when he says to the doc, he goes, "If you hurt Peter, like I'll never help you again." You know.
And as a Peter, how did you feel about that?
I was like, "Yeah, you got to go all in, man." You know what I mean? If Peter dies, we all die.
Wow.
Third person.
Quite a statement.
Yeah.
Really put yourself into a character.
Hey, you ever notice on these Cadbury eggs, is there like a star thing? I never noticed that before.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Put it back in the wrapper. Put it back in the wrapper. You're going to smell
Come on,
it
man.
too
We're
much.
past the time.
Once it's the time, what? The time when you have no more patience? Because I think we passed that a long time ago in our lives. A couple other things. First off, Scrabble pick. Do you guys, when you're playing Scrabble, do you often find prophetic words laid out in your tray?
All the time. The amount of games that I've gotten doom in my letters and I just sort of slide it over ominously.
That's why I don't play with you anymore.
A lot of
See, I get mood a lot. Do you think that's
I get Odom.
Leslie Odom.
Leslie Odom Jr., yeah.
That's great.
He's
I was just playing Scrabble and I got "Don't let Pete eat chocolate" for my letters. It is weird.
I'll just mention, just as Scrabble rules on the Leslie Odom Jr. thing, in case anybody's wondering or going to call us out on it, we allow all proper nouns and also cast members of Hamilton.
Wow.
Huge potential opportunity there for
Yeah.
trouble.
Well, anyway, good episode.
It was a good episode.
It was a good episode. One more thing we should talk about.
Yes.
Because the reveal that the kids find out, the hybrid kids find out about what happened with Roy.
Wahhabi. Oh, yeah.
And that was too bad.
It's
Because
also-
Gus sort of was like, we have this conjuring of Pubba here, and like he was lying like his dad did to protect his friends. But I think we learned the takeaway from season 1 was like, it was good for a while that he was lying to Gus, but in the end, it's not great. It messed up a lot of things. And then Gus is taking that lesson here, and it just has come to him.
Well, I think you brought this up the last episode, if I remember correctly, but this show really, in a sense, is all about Gus growing up and learning how to be an adult and learning how to be a responsible member of society, or however you want to say
Even
it.
a broken society.
Exactly.
Post-crumble.
So part
And
of
Gus
that...
also stands for grown-up soda.
So this is part of learning this. He made a lie to try to protect people as if they were kids, and they found out about it. Lies always come out eventually. So
No,
that's
I've
what
told
he's-
some lies that are still doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just trucking along real nice.
Great, yeah. You can live a lie. You can really live a lie if you do it hard enough, you know?
Yeah.
I love you.
Oh boy. I love chocolate. Let's do this already. Come on.
All right, well, that was the truth. So why don't we move on? Appropriate to the theme of this episode, we're going to be talking about Cadbury Creme Eggs.
See what
Now-
we did there? We
Okay.
were going
Well-
to eat chicken, but
Cadbury
it's not
creamed
it.
chicken.
candy. No, just have chicken. You know, but
We could do
Just
chicken and a
regular.
biscuit.
Not a
That's
candy.
not a candy, but it is a good cracker. Justin, what's going on? You went to the local gas station?
Yeah, well, Alex, you famously have some sort of Willy Wonka-esque gas station that has all candy. I went to so many pharmacies and grocery stores to try to find Cadbury Creme Eggs, and we're taping this, and it's like Easter sort of just happened. Could not find a single Cadbury Creme Egg, so I have a dozen caramel Cadbury mini eggs.
Oh, nice.
Which
And you're
you
going to
see-
eat all of them?
Yes, that's what you need me to do, right?
I think so.
And this is
how
like
many can you
marked
put in your
down.
mouth, man?
This was marked down like 75% off, and there's still no Cadbury Creme Eggs. I
By
was
the way,
shocked.
just to mention, that's what Pete did in his tweet thread. He was like, Peter reveal, and then up next it was, how many can you put in your mouth?
Look at you laughing. Look at Alex
I'm
laughing.
having a good time. This is one of my favorite candies, I want to say, before I even open it here. I really like Cadbury Creme Eggs. I know they're not to everybody's taste because they're a ludicrous amount of sugar. But
Yes,
I
the
really-
last time I had a full-on Cadbury Creme Egg, I was like, "This is poison." Also, the viscosity at which the inside is kept is like inhumane. It's
they're
a
also
science.
tricky. Like you got to get, once they're past the stale point, if you bite into them and they crack, you get that gross stuff in the middle all over everything. Not
just
good.
like a real egg.
Exactly.
Hey Pete, when you finished yours 25 minutes ago, did you enjoy it?
Right. This is very good. I like this a lot.
Well, here's the thing. The cream is a little much. I do like in the smaller ones, like the size Justin has, the cream isn't so overpowering. It's a nicer combination of, or nicer ratio of chocolate to cream.
That does feel like part of the appeal to me, though, is it being a little too much with the stuff in the middle. It takes a couple of bites to eat. You got to be careful with it, otherwise it's going to spill everywhere. So it takes a little more time, relatively, I guess, to eat than other candy, which I like.
I would say that's true, Alex, but I always watch Pete take it down like he was in an egg eating contest at a local bar or something.
And I also like, and around Halloween, they start releasing, and it's pretty gross, but Halloween Cadbury Creme Eggs, which is the same thing, but the cream in the middle is green, so it looks like you're eating a rotten egg.
Whoa.
Wow. When they came up with that, they just doubled their market share.
They high-fived all around the office.
Yeah. Okay, let's do a summer egg where it's just melts or something. I'm eating these, drinking. This is what I want to be doing. I'm eating these caramel eggs, and these are very good. They're mini.
Is it just
like
caramel in the middle, or is it also cream in there? Just caramel.
Just caramel.
Oh, okay, so it's like caramel, not like caramel-flavored Cadbury cream.
Correct. It's like a caramello.
Okay.
The polar part there is nice. That looks cool. That's like a commercial you
stretch.
just did there. Yeah, it's a good stretch.
Thank you.
One other thing that I'll
so.
mention about these eggs, I don't know if you guys saw this, but over Easter in the UK, they had a free, you're going to be surprised to hear that they were giving this away, a free limited supply at Subway sandwich shops. They had a Cadbury Creme Egg sub.
Oh my God.
What is in that?
Disgusting.
Well, so here's the thing. It sounds disgusting on the surface, but first of all, Cadbury chocolate in the UK, way better than it is here. Like basically primo chocolate. So that's already pretty good. It was just it was just 4 to 5 Cadbury cream eggs on a toasted roll, and that was pretty much it.
Oh my God, I would take that down. That would be glorious. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the star. Like, why is there a star on the egg?
Well, hold on. So at first I was like, oh, Cadbury Creme Egg sub. But then I thought about it and like, that's actually kind of a very French thing to have like chocolate warm on a toasted baguette or something like that. So
why are you trying to sell us on this? This is a horrible travesty.
I'm all in. I can't wait to. I'm going to take a flight just so I can eat it, and then turn around
here's the thing:
and
just go to your Subway, go to your local Subway sandwich shop, hand them 4 to 5 Cadbury Creme Eggs, and be like, "Could you put that?"
You don't think I've tried that? Yeah, they won't let you. They
Who
say
are you talking to?
They've already told me I'm not allowed to bring things in to put on the sandwich.
Hey man, you want to put this? Could you put this meatball on my sub?
And throw a little Chipotle mayo on there while you're at it.
I like the idea that you're like, you got to go to Subway to try this. Buy a piece of regular bread, which tastes better than the rubber ass shit they use at Subway, and just put an egg in it and put it in your mouth. Like, what do you need the Subway smell?
You're right.
I'll tell you what.
Go buy Cadbury eggs, and I'm going to make this sandwich.
I might. I keep thinking about it. Like I keep telling people about it, and I keep selling myself on it more. I don't know.
How did Pete die? Oh, he ate 4 of these sandwiches and died with the biggest smile on his face you'll ever see.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
way to go.
I was already in the tank for Cadbury Creme Eggs, but these are very good. Like when you get a good Cadbury Creme Egg, it is too much of a treat. I'm very wired right now, but I like it.
Can we talk about why there's a star on there? Does anybody know why?
Do you know?
No,
because it's
weird.
the star of trivia. That's not.
Oh my God,
you're out of your mind right now. You're so loopy.
I'm so hepped up on candy. I can't believe it.
It's hilarious. I've never seen you this silly.
It's so much. It's so much sugar. It's
well, and that's why I would
vibrating
say,
right now.
That's why I would argue this is not a good candy. This is an almost dangerous candy. Even the little
I'll ask you
ones.
this: which came first, the Cadbury chicken or the Cadbury egg?
The Cadbury chicken.
Egg.
What? Oh, you're just committing
the
to
Cadbury egg came first. This was the first thing that started getting them. Yeah, this was a huge.
Would you
deal.
eat if it was like a Cadbury egg, but it was chicken sized? It was filled with the same fluid.
Yeah.
fluid.
I don't know. What do
You think
call it?
this? You guys think you're making this sound good? This sounds horrible. And honestly, I'm happy to have the caramel eggs because these I will get behind. Good.
How
good
many have
treat.
you had?
3.
All right, keep going, man. Keep going.
No, I can't.
You got
eat
at
it
least
all.
have 5 to equal 1 egg of regulation size.
Oh my god.
What is this? I'm the race to the bottom. I'm not trying to be like Alex. You can't even think straight right now.
All right. Well, my doorbell is ringing, so it's time to wrap up.
You know what that means.
If you would like to support this podcast and all the podcasts we do, patreon.com/comic book club. Also, we do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. to Facebook and YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show at Comic Book Live on Twitter, Comic Book Club Live on TikTok and Instagram, comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, the Candymen can. Woohoo!
Yeah.